Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you to our final panel of the day, a conversation that ties together so many of the themes that we'll be exploring in these 2 days of the Skilling Conference. Our focus today for this panel is Skilling for Entrepreneurship, a topic that sits at the very heart of what it means to create meaningful, lasting opportunities for our youth. Skilling for Entrepreneurship is not just about delivering content, it's far more personal, far more transformational than a syllabus or a certification. It's about building belief in oneself, in one's ideas, and in one's right to create something new. Yes, we talk about technical skills, modules, and toolkits, but at the core, it's not just about what we teach, it's about who we are speaking to. It's about recognizing the entrepreneur in someone who's never seen themselves as one, a young woman in a remote village, a self-taught artisan, a student with a side hustle, or someone whose ideas were always practical but never validated. It's about helping people move from seeing entrepreneurship as something for others to something they can grow into with the right support, exposure, and confidence. When we design skilling with that lens, human first, systems second, we create not just economic opportunities but pathways to dignity, agency, and aspiration. And that's what truly unlocks entrepreneurial energy in every corner of our country. Over the next 45 minutes, we are going to look at this challenge from 6 different lenses: a curriculum expert, a banker, a financial inclusion specialist, an entrepreneur, an academic leader, and grassroots practitioners. This is our final panel, so we hope to leave you with sharp takeaways, new insights, and maybe even a few fresh questions to carry forward into your own work. With that in mind, and given we have 6 speakers in a tight 45-minute window, I kindly request all panelists to please keep your questions and responses to those brief, focused, and impactful so we can cover as much ground as possible. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to our final panel of the day, Skilling for Entrepreneurship, a conversation that brings together 6 distinguished voices from across the ecosystem: policy, finance, training, academia, and grassroots innovation. Together, they'll help us unpack what it truly takes to build entrepreneurial capability in India, not just through content, but through confidence, access, inclusion, and real-world relevance. With that, I invite my first speaker for the panelists. Dr. Saurabh Chandrasekharan is a senior consultant at the National Institute for Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development, the apex institution under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. With over 11 years of experience in entrepreneurship development, training design, and capacity building, he is the lead author of Entrepreneurship Development Program Handbook 2023, which sets a structured methodology and national best practices for entrepreneurship training. Thank you for being with us here today, Dr. Saurabh. Moving to my next panelist, Mr. Kanak Sharma currently serves as Assistant General Manager at NABARD, India's apex development bank for rural and agricultural advancement. He is posted with the Jammu and Kashmir Regional Office and previously served as District Development Manager in Rajauri. Mr. Sharma has a strong track record in rural credit, financial inclusion, and livelihood promotion. We are glad to have you as a panelist for the conference, Mr. Kanak. Moving to the next panelist, Mr. Mohammed Adil is an Assistant General Manager at SIDBI, where he has contributed to the Poorest States Inclusive Growth Program, PSIG, a flagship initiative focused on enhancing income and employment opportunities in low-income states. His work centers on financial inclusion, gender empowerment, and the economic upliftment of underserved communities, particularly women. We welcome you, Mr. Adil. Moving to the next panelist, Mr. Shakil Karandar is a veteran entrepreneur from Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir, with decades of experience in wood waste manufacturing. His unit was conferred the National Award in 1999 for excellence in craftsmanship. He served as the president of the Federation of Chambers of Industries, Kashmir, FCIK, from 2004 to 2010 and has held board positions across key industrial bodies in J&K, including the J&K Skill Development Mission. At the national level, he has also contributed to the Central MSME Board and has served on 2 Prime Minister committees, the PM's Task Force on MSMEs and Dr. C. Rangarajan Committee on Job Plans for JM. We warmly welcome you to the panel. Joining us virtually on VC is Professor Madhushri Shekhar, who leads the School of Skill Education at IS, Mumbai, where she oversees vocational training programs that integrate academic rigor with industry relevance. Her interdisciplinary work spans education, social policy, and gender inclusion. She has been instrumental in shaping equitable and inclusive skilling models through curriculum design, institutional partnerships, and policy research. Looking forward to the insights from you, Professor. Last on the panel is Mr. Pierre Nayak, joining us virtually again, heads the skilling vertical at Deshpande Foundation, the largest skill development center in India that drives innovation and entrepreneurship. He oversees the Deshpande Skilling Academy, which delivers job link, market aligned, vocational training to rural and semi-urban youth. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Nayak. With this, we start our focused discussion towards the theme today. My first question will be to Dr. Saurabh, and the theme that we'll be introducing and trying to cover through this question is, what must a skilling program contain to prepare entrepreneurs for real-world success? The question to you, Mr. Dr. Saurabh, is, let's begin with the foundation, what we are teaching. You authored the EDP handbook, which sets the gold standard for entrepreneurship training. What are some of the core components that every entrepreneurial skilling program must include to prepare the first generation entrepreneurs, not just with ideas, also with resilience and readiness? Over to you.
First of all, I would like to thank the Department of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship for giving us this opportunity for joining on this crucial guidance platform for transformation of skilling and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Jammu and Kashmir. Also, I would like to appreciate the presentation which was shared yesterday, very impactful presentation containing the roadmap for some transformation of the skilling and entrepreneurial landscape in Jammu and Kashmir. Before diving into the question which you have raised, I will first like to introduce my organization. I am from ISBER. National Institute for Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development is an organization under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. It is engaged in training, research, consultancy, and research in order to promote entrepreneurship. We are headquartered at Noida, and we have our 22 centers across 20 states. We also are present in Jammu and Kashmir, in Srinagar, as well as in Jammu. The Institute basically designs and organizes training programs on entrepreneurship and small business development for different stakeholders, for different target groups. We have trained around 17 lakh trainees through different training programs, which include entrepreneurship awareness programs, entrepreneurship development programs, entrepreneurship-based skill development programs, management development programs, training of trainers program, and also international training programs. Our programs are outcome-oriented. Just to share a few glimpses of the programs which we have organized during the last year. So, as I had discussed, we have a plethora of different types of training programs. Some of the training programs are mandated with outcome. So, during the last year, we have imparted training to around 80,000 trainees on those outcome-oriented programs. And through those programs, we have been able to ground around 25,000 enterprises in different states of the country. And also we have been able to provide wage employment through those established enterprises to close to 21,000 participants. So just I am sharing these statistics with you to share that our programs are outcome-oriented programs, and the success rate of our programs are around 30 to 35%. Talking specifically about the Jammu and Kashmir region, so we have been implementing various programs of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in Jammu and Kashmir also. Last year we have started training close to 10,000 participants, which included entrepreneurship development program as well as entrepreneurship awareness program also, in order to expose our youth to entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial opportunities present in the ecosystem which they can leverage to start their enterprises. And in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, we were able to ground around 1,200 enterprises through different programs organized under Sankalp scheme, Strive scheme, and also programs organized under CSR project of Hindustan Unilever Limited. So this was just a glimpse of the programs which we have been organizing. We are organizing different programs with different bodies. Now coming to the question which has been raised to me, what should be the ideal content for an entrepreneurship development program? So the content for an entrepreneurship development program should be designed specifically looking upon the needs of the target group. If we ideally see the content of an entrepreneurship development program, so it should start with entrepreneurial motivation. It should also deal about the entrepreneurial competencies which are required to be inculcated into the aspiring entrepreneurs. It should also address the business opportunity identification. What are the available opportunities? How to identify them based on local resources, local demand, how critical thinking can be inculcated in entrepreneurs, how innovative thinking can be inculcated among them. Then, along with opportunity identification, the course curriculum should also include component of market research, since once you have identified some business opportunity, so in order to check the validity of that specific business opportunity, you have to conduct market research, you have to conduct market survey. So what are the basic resources which you need in order to start an enterprise? What are the demands available of that particular product or that particular service which you are thinking of while starting your enterprise? So market survey is also a critical component of the entrepreneurship development program. After market survey, the entrepreneurship development program should include components of entrepreneurial support ecosystem. When we say entrepreneurial support ecosystem, that means what are the different schemes, either it be a centrally sponsored scheme or a state specific scheme. So what are the different schemes under which an aspiring entrepreneur who wishes to leverage credit facilitation, so he can approve those specific schemes, what are the eligibility criteria, what is the procedure of availing that scheme. Also, apart from the government schemes, what are the private entrepreneurial support ecosystem available from where he can avail credit, either it be from angel investors or from venture capitalists or from different platforms. What are the platforms which are available? Like there are different platforms like 59 Minutes Portal. There is one platform which is facilitating credit paperlessly, seamlessly. There is a SEAM portal. Also, what are the different portals started by Government of India which have the repositories, like the Bhaskar platform, the WEP platform, which is basically started by the Niti Aayog. Then we also have our MSD's platform, the Skill India Digital Hub, which has been declared DPI, Digital Public Inventory. So, on that Skill India digital portal also, there are repositories which are available for entrepreneurs from where they can seek mentoring and handholding support. Also, they can leverage knowledge about different schemes. So, coming back to the question, so after entrepreneurial support ecosystem, the module should contain marketing management, basics of marketing management, how the traditional marketing modes can be leveraged for reaching out to the customers, then coming to the digital platform, the e-commerce platforms, and after marketing, the most important module is financial management. How to prepare business plan, what are the essentials of a business plan, and how to manage enterprises. Because once you have started your enterprise, how you will sustain it, how you will scale it. So the module of enterprise management is also very much essential in an ideal entrepreneurship curriculum. So these are the basic elements which constitute different components of EDP, which should be there in an entrepreneurship course. This we have talked about capacity building. Capacity building alone cannot suffice enterprise creation objective. After capacity building, the most important phase is mentoring and handholding. So the module should also provide support to the trainees through mentoring and handholding support so that they can leverage the different schemes in order to gain credit. Also, how they can tap markets, how they can complete the compliances which are required for starting their enterprise. So mentoring and handholding is also very much essential component of an EDP. So these are the basic essentials which should constitute an ideal entrepreneurship development program.
Thank you, Dr. Saurabh. My key takeaways from your discussion were outcome-oriented, needs of the target group, human-centric and support ecosystem for the curriculum to reach to the actual beneficiary. My next question will be to Mr. Kanak Sharma, and the theme that we'll be covering will be how do financial systems see skilling and value it when financing entrepreneurs. The question to you, Mr. Kanak, is taking Dr. Saurabh's curriculum lens forward, let's talk about how that training translates into the real world, especially from a financial institution's perspective, because you've seen firsthand how financial access makes or breaks rural entrepreneurship. In your experience, what does entrepreneurial readiness look like from a banker's point of view, and what kind of skilling or support gives lenders the confidence to back a first-time entrepreneur?
I'll be very specific to the question that you have posed to me. What I feel is that these things.
Hello. This topic skilling for entrepreneurship is very relevant in context of Jammu and Kashmir. We have to see this thing from an angle that a labor force periodic survey which reports that around 23% of our postgraduate students are unemployed, 19% of our graduate students are unemployed. So you can see the numbers. इतना ज़्यादा number है. We like हमारे GNT के perspective में आप देखिए तो बच्चे जो हैं they normally have a tendency that they don't want to move out also. हमारे यहाँ culture को change होने में time अभी लगेगा. But the things which we are discussing since morning, वो चीजें हमारी स्टेट में यूटी में होंगी, but these things are gonna take some time. अभी आप देखिए हम स्किल्स की बात कर रहे हैं, हम मशीन लर्निंग, एआई ये सब की बात कर रहे हैं, but जीएनटी की पर्सपेक्टिव में देखिए इसका डिमांड अभी उतना नहीं है जो कंज्यूम कर पाए इस चीज को. अगर हम अपने बच्चों को स्किल करेंगे, ये सब करेंगे, तो आने वाले टाइम में मे बी व्हेन वी हैव सम इंडस्ट्रियल बेस और व्हेन वी चेंज द माइंडसेट ऑफ आवर children that they can move out of this beauty and work there also, तो उस टाइम में ये रेलेवेंट होंगी। बट जो हमारा अभी जो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप है, स्किलिंग का जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट आउटकम हम उसमें फोकस ऐसे कर सकते हैं कि गवर्नमेंट ने अभी मिशन युवा लॉन्च किया है। सो मिशन युवा को ऑगमेंट करने के लिए बैकवर्ड ट्रैकिंग आप देख सकते हैं, ये स्किलिंग एक इतना इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट हो सकता है ताकि जो मिशन युवा के आउटकम्स हैं हम इस टूल के साथ अगर हम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पे फोकस करें, हम उनको ऐसा स्किल दें which makes them entrepreneurship ready और जिसके लिए उनको इतना लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं लगेगा, उनको कोई बहुत ज्यादा स्किल एक्वायर करने की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई कोर्स करने का जरूरत नहीं है, बहुत ही सिंपल एक एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप माइंडसेट हमें जो उन लोगों में डालना है उसी पे हमें फोकस करना है। तो कमिंग बैक टू द क्वेश्चन दैट यू हैव आस्क्ड मी, दैट फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस बेसिकली जो बैंक्स हैं हमारे यहाँ पे बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स लाइकली फेस की, बच्चों को लोन नहीं मिलता है, कैंडिडेट्स आर नॉट गेटिंग लोन। सो फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस बेसिकली सी स्किलिंग नॉट एज जस्ट अ सर्टिफिकेट बट एज अ रिस्क मिटिगेटर। सो it signals to them that the borrower is prepared, he has clarity of purpose and he understands business fundamentals. So you have to see this from an angle that कि हम लोगों ने बहुत सारा स्किलिंग किया, like it says 4 lakh around 4 lakh people we have trained at the प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना। अभी I got some data from राजीव रंजन सर, उन्होंने हमें उद्यम का डेटा एनालाइज करने के लिए दिया था। So I'll just share some findings with you। उसमें around 4.62 lakh people जिन लोगों ने जेएनटी में इंडस्ट्री लगाई, उद्यम पोर्टल आप जानते हैं पीएमजीपी में किया, ये सब किया। So when you are analyzing that data, you will be shocked to know around 66,000 units जेएनटी में लगा है, which deals with tailoring, garments, boutique, embroidery and related trades। 66,000 units। So आप जब इसको कंपेयर करें, I'll just tell you about a region in called तिरुपुर in Tamil Nadu। तिरुपुर तमिलनाडु में उसको नीट डे कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया कहा जाता है। उसमें सिर्फ 10,000 यूनिट्स हैं, ओनली 10,000 यूनिट्स, एंड वो 10,000 यूनिट्स एम्प्लॉय करती हैं 6 लाख लोगों को। सो मतलब हमारे यहाँ पे क्या हुआ कि जो स्किलिंग थी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, अगर आप उसके साथ रिलेटेड देखें, सो दैट इज बेसिकली मिसिंग हमारे यहाँ पे। और इसी की वजह से जो बेसिकली बैंक्स हैं हमारे यहाँ, सो दे आर रिलेक्टेंट कि उनका क्रेडिट जो है whether it will be returned back to them or not। सो इसीलिए अगर हमें ये देखना है कि हाउ दे सी दैट फ्रॉम अ बैंकर्स लेंस, उनके लिए स्किलिंग कब वैल्यूड है, इट इज वैल्यूड व्हेन इट रिड्यूसेस बिजनेस फेलियर, it enhances repayment capacity और it builds entrepreneurial confidence। अब आप देख सकते हैं कि जैसे कोट वन एग्जांपल ऑल्सो कि हम लोग जब मिशन युवा कर रहे हैं तो हम लोग डीपीआर, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे वो इतना बड़ा लेवल था कि बच्चे अपनी डीपीआर नहीं बना सकते हैं, गवर्नमेंट से डीपीआर नहीं बना के, गवर्नमेंट इतना इन्वेस्ट कर रही है कि आपको डीपीआर बनानी है। सो फॉर द टाइम बिंग ठीक है, हम उनको हेल्प कर रहे हैं, बट हमारी जो स्किलिंग इंडेवर्स होने चाहिए वो ऐसे होने चाहिए कि दैट borrower should come forward with his business plan, he should tell us कि ये मेरा बिजनेस प्लान है, इतना सर मैं कमाऊंगा, ऐसे मैं आपका लोन वापस करूंगा, as simple as that। So अगर बैंक को लगता है कि ऐसी कोई स्किलिंग जो ट्रांसलेट करे उसको रियल वर्ल्ड वैल्यू में, वो तब है जब उसका borrower क्रेडिट वर्क रेडी है, मार्केट से लिंक है और डिजिटल लिटरेट है। मैं आपको एग्जांपल कोट करूंगा, हम लोग सोचते हैं कि यहाँ पे स्किलिंग के लिए जैसे कि क्या डिमांड है क्या नहीं है हमारे पास, फ्रॉम एंड आई एम टेलिंग दीस थिंग्स फ्रॉम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पर्सपेक्टिव। आप सोचिए हम लोगों के पास सबसे बड़ा मेज है, वी आर द बिगेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ मेज, हम यहाँ मेज प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, बट हमारे यहाँ पे कोई ऐसी इंडस्ट्री नहीं है जो फीड बनाए। When Chief Secretary sir used to be additional Chief Secretary जब HDP लाया गया था, तो in government has done an exercise जहाँ पे ये रिवील हुआ था around 2,000 crores annually we lose for importing feed, for importing mutton, for importing other raw materials, poultry products। So जो हमारी स्टेट की कंजम्पशन है हम उसको भी मीट नहीं कर पा रहे। So we already have 2,000 2000 crore is a very huge market. आप सोच सकते हैं कि तो ये 2000 करोड़ आज से 5 साल पहले था. So अगर हमारे जो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं हम उनमें ये स्किल माइंडसेट क्रिएट करते हैं दैट यू, क्योंकि हमारा एक सेल्फ सस्टेन्ड इकोनॉमी टाइप है, जैसे सर ने भी कहा था इनॉग्रल एड्रेस में कि हम फैग एंड ऑफ द कंट्री बैठते हैं, तो यहाँ डिमांड लेड जो चीजें हैं वो बहुत कम है. सो मैं आप हाउस के सामने या पॉलिसी मेकर्स के सामने मैं ये पर्सपेक्टिव रखना चाहूंगा कि अगर हम अपने स्किलिंग प्रोग्राम्स को ऐसे अलाइन करें, जो चीज हम अपनी स्टेट में कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं अगर हम उसी को फुलफिल कर पा रहे हैं, और बैंक्स विल बी वेरी हैप्पी टू फंड दैट, क्योंकि वो ऐसी चीजें हैं जिसमें मार्केट ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है, फेलियर का कोई चांस नहीं है, और ओवर एंड अबव गवर्नमेंट उसको उसकी रिपेमेंट गारंटी कर रही है. So this is all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kanav. My two takeaways from your insights were, one, that you spoke very nicely about the linkages between Mission Yuva and the skilling initiatives led by the government and how that translates into entrepreneurship readiness. The second was how skilling we do here is for risk mitigation. Thank you for that. Moving to the next question for Mr. Mohammad Adil. Mr. Adil, many underserved communities, especially women, are excluded even before they are evaluated. My question to you is, from your work in low-income states through SIDBI's PSIG program, what design principles actually lead to empowerment through skilling and not just access but also agency? And the theme that we're trying to cover through this question is, how do we design skilling programs to be truly inclusive for women and for the marginalized groups? Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Gauri. And before going to PSIG, the question, if I ask you in a simple one word, that how we have to design the program, we have to be sensitive. Unless we are sensitive, we are not able to see from that lens that which are the missing link. I will give you an example, practical example, which will take some 6 months back. Before going to the PSIG, there is a school called here, Abhinanda. That school is for the hearing and speech impaired. And we gone there for just other work, and we realized and asked that after 12th, what does this children do? Most of the children can't speak, can't listen. So they said there is no college or university in JNK where we can go for higher education. There is no scope. There is no skill which they are learning in the school. So that provoked us to think about what we can do for them. We spoke to IGNO, we went there to regional director. We told them that can these children be enrolled in IGNO? And they said yes, we can do it, but we don't have special educators for them. So this helped us to develop a program for them. And now 25 of them enrolled for IGNO program and doing their graduation. We also brought an NGO to work on the skilling of these children. And we said that go and identify and map what is their inherent skill, what their parents are doing, what kind of raw material or background they have, and what is their interest area. And can we design some program where they need not to interact with the consumer or customer? And can we train them the teaching? So that sensitivity makes a lot of difference. When we are designing a program, and we talked about PSIG was a very big program. We implemented in 4 states, Bihar, UP, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. The target was to reach around 10 million people, around 1 crore people. And we covered that program by reaching 12 million people in 2/3 of the budget. So that was the efficiency of the program we implemented at 4 states. The design element, from the day one we put it, that we need a gender expert to across the program to see the program from the gender lens. So we cannot have a different view that for a woman we design a different program. Whatever program we are designing, whether there is a gender element in that program or not. So we see things from that lens that can we see from every program. And we try to understand that who are the enablers. So suppose Bihar when we work, so SRM in Bihar, Jeepka was a big success there, and then a lot of experiment was going on bank Sakhi. So if you see that SHG model, the bank Sakhi was the first point of connect for these women. We said, can we scale it up? Can we create more bank Sakhis? And in the entire state, we created around 3,000, 4,000 additional bank Sakhis with a outcome-based monitoring that every bank Sakhi should be able to earn around 25,000 to 30,000 rupees. There were some exceptional cases where they were able to earn 40,000, 50,000 also, but that was the kind of lens we were looking. Another example, if I quote in UP when we tried to find out that if the SFGs and microfinance after a group loan, can we graduate some of the women from group loan to individual loan? And can we help them to become micro entrepreneurs rather than a value enterprises? So across Eastern UP and Bihar, we work with different agencies, and we told them that in a group you identify one woman where you see that the potential is much more higher than the group members. And around 10,000 women we work in these two states to become micro entrepreneurs from these SHG members. So these are the design elements when we see things from the gender perspective or including people otherwise who are excluded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rajan. Again, the one takeaway also for the room would be how you started the discussion with the word sensitivity and also translated that into how it leads to scale. Thank you so much for the insights. Moving on to the next panelist, Mr. Shakil. My question to you would be, with your dual experience as both an entrepreneur and also a policy advisor at the highest levels, what do you think are the most critical gaps between how skilling programs are designed and what entrepreneurs on the ground actually need? And how can we make these programs more aligned with the realities of starting and sustaining a business in regions like J&K? The theme that we would like to cover through this question is bridging policy and practice, and what do entrepreneurs really need from scaling? Over to you, Mr. Shakil.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I would thank the organizers for having invited me to this session. Though I was invited only today, and after having preoccupations, I joined very late, missed most of the presentations, which I think have been wonderful since yesterday. But I'm too unfortunate to have missed all those presentations, particularly the one that would have been presented by the Technical Education Department yesterday, giving the database stats of skill development initiatives in GMPs. Nevertheless, I also see that this is the end of all the sessions, and towards end, it's obvious that the audience will feel fatigued. My friend he feels sleepy. And to get away from that fatigue, let me start with some lighter, it's a tail dive, but towards the entrepreneurship. In 1998, son of the soil, one of the sons of the soil, Professor Vijay Mahajan, is a name, international name in marketing, a son of soil from Jammu, having migrated to US in 50s or 60s, the entire family, and he's a professor at Texas University. He visited Kashmir, and he had two friends, Professor Ashok Amma and Professor Ajaz Mathur from the University of Kashmir. Then there was a common friends, and they introduced him to me, and we sat together for a dinner or lunch, I don't remember that. But during that time, he asked me some questions, and the hard question was, does your entrepreneurs get training? I said, no, it's not. There's no concept of training the entrepreneurs in our state. He said, how can they do work there? How do they succeed? So I was perplexed, and then he explained the whole thing that globally there have been institutions to train entrepreneurs to take up the challenges what entrepreneurship does have. So we discussed it. Then I had some close with Dr. Farooq, I was sequenced to them. They said that, why don't you mention it to Dr. Saab that he will meet him and we'll sit together to find out if there is a way to have some sort of institute like this. I went to Dr. Saab and he readily agreed. He said, take you. And we went there, we discussed the things. Then during those days, he had a station in this hall, audience hall also. He is the expert on marketing. And his daily is 86%. He is very famous by that 86%. He gives that 86% of the goods sold, manufactured and sold world over are general goods. And they only see towards the cost. And it should be effective, but the cost is the main criteria. So it's a big thing, and he delivered that lecture. After that, we conceived the concept of having an entrepreneurship development institute in Jammu and Kashmir. And it came up during that period. It took some, I think, 1 or 2 years, and we got it. And it was established in one of the buildings in Yuba, in the city. And later, the government of India gave the funds for its buildings here in Kashmir as well as in Jammu. But the basic concept that Professor Vijay Mahajan had in mind, and he had calculated in our mind, that this institute will train the entrepreneurs and track them to the path towards success of the ventures. Entrepreneurship Development Institute in Jammu and Kashmir came up, no doubt. But today, it is just a distributor of your seed capital money. And nobody looks towards the entrepreneurs whom you have given the money as seed capital, and then what has happened to them. What the industry department has done with them, what the banks have done with those persons. What are their problems? Nobody look towards that. So, to me, it is an utter failure as of now, if you ask me. Likewise, we have around 23 ITIs and about 22 polytechnic colleges in the state, in India. What I found for many years now, you don't get the students to enroll for the academic sessions. Half of the vacancies remain vacant when I use it to follow it vigorously, the department as well as the skill development initiatives. Half of the seats would remain either vacant or they would leave halfway. So what kind of skill they are developing, producing, and is there any linkage with the market? No. So these are very essential things. We have to introspect on all these initiatives. I tell this young, dynamic, the director of skill development department, that you have to build up initiatives based on the failure of earlier initiatives. I was, part of Dr. C. Rangarajan committee on job plans for JNK State. We were 6 members in that. And another member was the world famous Narendra Murthy. And then we had Arun Das, the patron of CII, and a former agriculture secretary, and B.B. Vyas from the state, who later became chief secretary of JNK State. We were 6 of them, and each of us gave ideas. I gave the triple S, you might be knowing about it, that's our education. But Narendra Murthy Saab, he gave a scheme, a concept of a scheme Udan, that let us identify companies, multinational companies across India, who will be ready to sponsor training of entrepreneurs with these youth from JNK State. 50% of the training cost should come as CSR from those companies, and 50% come to India to reimbursed. He offered his own company, Infosys, and then others, they also came in, and we had identified our score of till the time we submitted report to the Honorable Prime Minister and discussed with all those initiatives what we had recommended for. But I am here to tell you that even after that initiative, I found lots of people who were trained outside by Tata Consultancy or any other such credible agencies and put to the job. They have left those jobs. They have found those not suitable for them. We have to now see what we want to do. The gap that you are talking about, what are the gap in the schemes? The first is the skill and industry mismatch. Most skilling programs are generally short-term and poorly aligned with the local industries. Crafts, we have the craft industry in JNK, tourism and agriculture. It requires deep hands-on long-cycle learning, not 3 to 6 months or 9 months certification course or whatever you call that. Then another point is missing post-training continuity. No linkage to credit, incubation, markets, leading to drop-offs, even after skill acquisition. Then we see weak industry and local context integration. Centralized templates in local economic realities, especially in the region like Kashmir, with craft-based informal economies. Lack of ecosystem approach is another gap which I find. Overlapping of skills across ministries, no unified strategy or tracking of outcomes like job creation. At one point of time, there were, I think earlier in 2019, there were 56 schemes undertaken by different departments. Nobody knew what, everybody talking about that they are going for skill development and they are imparting skill training. Thank God, after 2019 or 2020, this was reduced to 20, but still it's 20. And we want just amalgamate all those and put it under one department, under one hold. So that's why there was anyway. Another gap that I found is this incentivizing trainers and core infrastructure. You see the condition of these trainers. We have these ILCs in ITIs later, in the later, I think, some few years back, I think 12 years back, 10 or 12 years back, and Government of India came up with 2.5 crores for each ITI for upgradation, infrastructure upgrades. And the point was that industry leader was, our trainer was also associated with it, only to have a linkage with industry and to have some hand in the curriculum setting of that. It has also failed. Because you don't have the trainers in those newly established infrastructure buildings. You don't have the trainers. And you don't pay them, nicely. These are some things I would have asked, I would have invested this on the Chief Secretary here to pay heed to it, to see what's going on. So what needs do we want to change? One is that localized training models should be adopted, the long-term mentorship models, institutionalization of the Ustad Shagird. I say Ustad Saad. Ustad Saad scheme should be introduced in Kashmir because for all our crafts, handicrafts, it is not something you will train them in the classroom, a theory class. It has to be, a pupil has to be with his master for minimum of 5 to 6 years, and then he gradually learns the craft, we are talking of the world famous shawl weavings, the shawl embroideries, the carpet weavings, the wood carving items or paper mache. You have to put them. So introduce this Shagir, what you call Ustad Shagir scheme in a big way. Second thing is that single schools within the ITIs, I think they should embed crafts, agribusiness and tourism-based curricula in the local institutions. Whatever ITIs we do have, I think they should also have space for craft learners. Basics.